Hello everyone, today we're going to work on sculpting and we're going to create a miniature insect or bug from air dry clay. We're going to be making an armature. An armature is like a skeleton that's used to give your sculpture strength and support. And we'll create our armature and then we will use our magic clay. There was not a great deal in here, so our models are going to be miniatures. We'll use our magic clay to coat the armature and create our little characters. What you will need is some sticky tape, paper, any sort of paper you can use, even tissues if you have to. And we will need our wire. If you have any wire cutters, that would be great. And just be careful using them that you don't cut your fingers. If not, a pair of scissors that you're actually allowed to use, because that should cut. It should cut the wire quite easily. And you'll need probably some water. What I've done is just wet a little cloth so that I can keep my fingers moist so that the clay doesn't dry out. And there's that word moist, but here it's a good thing. I've also found some little ties, little twist ties, just in case I might want to work those into the design, perhaps for feelers or for something that doesn't need to support weight, maybe wings. And I've brought a fork into the room so that I can perhaps create some texture onto the clay afterwards. So, you've already created your designs. My design has been a bee. I've drawn it too realistically. I should have drawn a cartoon bee. But while I'm creating, I will turn it into a cartoon bee. And down here I've drawn the shapes that I'll need to focus on creating. This shape for the belly, and it's more from above, it's that shape, more oval. And on the side it's an oval, but it's sort of a squishier oval. Then the head, which is almost this teardrop shape. And it's a nice big belly. Okay, so let's start. Right, step one. What we need to do is crush the paper for a basic shape or form. Doesn't matter, rip it up. I'm going to experiment with newspaper and I'll use some of the other papers as well. So crush it up and make it really, really tight. Now, my model is going to be a little bee. This actually, what I've squished up already, looks almost like the shape of the head. Really, really squish it. So I might have to add a little bit more paper to that one. I don't want it too big, and I have to be sure that my dimensions are going to be right, so that the head's not going to be too big for the body. Otherwise I have to create another armature. So keep the paper as small as you can. Keep working it. And then the next bit is to sticky tape. Now the sticky tape just keeps everything nice and tight and firm. Make sure you've got plenty of it on hand. I hope I don't run out. It seems to be a fair bit there. For a small model, I suppose we probably wouldn't need more than a roll. Lucky we're not doing this at school. I don't think I've got enough sticky tape. You can use masking tape, any sort of tape that you've got. Just stick it around. It gets a bit fiddly because we are working with miniatures. I've got big hands and big fingers, so it makes it more fiddly. Now, you are just doing a basic shape because when you apply the clay over the top, that's when you can start shaping the finer features of your head. And you'll notice when you put the sticky tape on that it actually shrinks your shape because you're compressing it, packing it all down and making it tight. So there we have a rough head. Maybe I'll need a little bit more tape on its, I don't know what you call it on a bee, but I'll say it's a little snout. And again, if it doesn't have to be all that smooth because you're going to be putting the clay over it. So there's his little head. I'll just put that down and then work on the body. So time to work the body, and body on the bee obviously has to be bigger than the head. So I have to keep squishing, and that's what you'll do. Maybe I might use some of this. Great sound. Too big. For that little middle part of the bee. That might be good for its bottom part. Hope I'm not making the model too big. It's going to be hard to get that sort of oval type shape, and I think that's still too big. If I go back and look at my design, which you probably should have sitting out in front of you, and I would, but it's a bit awkward filming. The head's that big, really only needs to be twice the size of the head. Am I getting there? I don't know. Maybe I should just stick with the newspaper after all. It's got to be twice that size. Oh, it's almost there, really. Maybe. Squish it. Good exercise. Good hand exercise. Squishing. Now, if I can press that, it probably will be the right size. Anyway, it is my design, as you're doing your design, and you're the artist. You can modify things along the way. Okay, it's not tight enough. It's a bit, see how it's a bit loose? I need to compress that a little bit more before I start putting the sticky tape on. Should have checked that. I might try and reuse that sticky tape too. So just pack that a little bit tighter. It's got to be tight so that your clay can go over the top, have a nice firm skeleton, because we don't want our sculpture to sort of fall apart. Not after all the work you're putting into it. I might just push that a little bit more. It's rather good fun, actually. It does take a while, and all good things in art take a while. The planning stages, as we know, I always stress planning is really, really super important. And you develop your own technique of squishing, as long as it's nice and hard and compressed. Almost rock-like, really. So work it through, and when you're happy with your shapes, I think I'm reasonably happy with that. I probably could be a little bit more rounded. Maybe if I put sticky tape around the edges like that, I can compress it a bit more. So you can see what we're doing, how we're using the sticky tape to compress our shape even further. I'll pull a little bit tighter. There you go, nuts with the sticky tape. Have fun. If that's your thing. Almost there. Yeah, I think that's the shape I'm looking for. So that would be the head, and then the body part of the bee, and then I've got his big bottom part to go. Okay, I've been working this one. I'm thinking that maybe my bee sculpture might be a little bit too big. It's hardly a miniature now. We'll see how we can go with it, whether I have enough clay. We are working with limited resources. If we're at school, you'd have access to a lot more air drying clay. If you want, I know that at the $2 shop in Bayswater, just at the back of Aldi there, they have some air drying clay, and it's pretty cheap. I think it's about $5 for a block about so big. So if you'd rather go and get that, and use that, fine. Now here I'm trying to form that little bottom part where the stinger goes. Anybody ever wondered why they call it a $2 shop when not everything in there is $2? Just a thought. Don't think his body is chunky enough. It's not the teardrop shape that I really wanted. But what I might do is shape the clay around it more to give it the bulk and the teardrop shape that I want. Because that's really not fat enough. When you look at this, it's not really in proportion to my B shape. That needs to be a lot smaller. I could redo that, but I might just bulk out the body. So there's my 3 basic. Okay, our next step is to use the perfect yet. Nothing has to be perfect anyway. Perfection's all in your own mind. So I'll keep sticky taping till it's nice and firm. Actually, I might put his head on the wrong way. Just squish it a bit more. I think his head actually sort of turns down more like that. So I have made a little bit of a mistake there, but see how easy it is to fix something. And that's more like in the design where his head is hanging down, if you can see that. So a bit more sticky tape for securing. Actually, it's pretty firm. Yeah, it looks like a bee. Be kind. So next part, got this little dip here. I might make use of that by putting it there. So it's still sticky tape. We're getting ready to put the legs, arms and legs on with the wire in a moment. Still sticky tape him into place. Yeah. Just put it down there for a minute and work through. It's looking just a bit awkward. And the body, actually the body goes that way, doesn't it? I've almost made a mistake. Oh no, it goes that way. Need to be quite focused. I'm more concerned about trying to video it than create. So attaching the head and the body. Now to adding the legs. Now hopefully my scissors will work for this. You'll need to calculate. That's where maths comes into art. Need to calculate how many pieces you'll need and how long they will be. Now with a bee, a lot of the legs come out of this part here. Okay, so I've got my bee, or would be bee, wannabe bee. This is going to rest over there for a while. I might actually have to fix his legs a bit better later. Right now we need to work with our clay. And I've got a dog growling in the background, please ignore that. So we'll get our clay out. Now the container is an airtight container, that wasn't very airtight. That should have been sealing that. And tip it out. And it's good to have a little bit of water, as I said, to wet it so that if your clay starts drying out, you can just squish some water onto it. Oh, squishy. So you need it to warm it up and to just get a feel of it. This one's actually quite good. It's not collecting on my hands. I probably should take my rings off. If you don't like the feel of it, then you might like to get some gloves. So keep working it, thin it out until it's about half a centimetre or 4 millimetres maybe thick. So 4 or 5 millimetres thick. Then you're going to cover your armature with it. Now you can cover it, that's probably a little thin, probably needs to be around about there. You cover your sculpture with it and then you keep adding on and building more and more. It's good stuff to play with. Before I do, I might just fix up his leg. Okay, so I've worked the clay quite a bit. Now it's time to just put it over your armature. You rip bits off, and work it in. So make sure you cover it all. And I should give my dog a treat, and that would have been quiet. I do need to leave bits for features like the eyes. So as you can see, I'm just working it around. Then it's important to start moulding your shape a bit. So keep working your shape until you are pretty happy. I took his antlers out, his little feelers out, because I wasn't real happy with them. So before you add the details, I need to wet that a little bit more. Make sure you're really, really happy with your shape. I'm pretty happy with it. I might just sort of stick his feelers in now. This will be fun. This time I'm not going to make them go too deep. Oops. Make some mistakes along the way. That was one. Now I could build on the legs and add more to it, but if I had more time I probably would. And what I'm going to do next is the eyes. Eyes are really, really important. The face of a creature is what communicates so much. So I'm rolling that. They have actually quite really big eyes. Need to wet that probably a bit more. You're getting the idea though. And work that onto your design. He has got massive eyes. It's going to be watching you. So behave. Alright, enough with the bee jokes. Yeah, I get it. Sorry about that. Clearing the throat. And keep working. Bee looks like it's turned into a bit of an ant at the moment. So I could build on the legs and give them their thick furry bits. I might continue doing that. The other thing I haven't forgotten, but I've got to create wings. This is where I think I am in a bit of trouble because I don't think I have enough wire. Not that they have huge wings, but if I was doing something like a butterfly I might be in trouble. I'm still a bit short. What I might do, because it's my artwork and I can make it any way I like, I might create the illusion of wings. Or I might actually find some other materials that I could use to fill the wings in with. I'm really pushing it into the armature. You can't see that, but it's pushing it right in. Then the last part of the journey will be to smooth everything out, and you use a bit of water to do that to get it looking just right. And then of course to add textured surface. So a bee's quite fluffy here. I might just try to create a fluffiness by stippling. It's the illusion. We're not trying to create a realistic model. To keep reminding myself of that. And I haven't put enough clay in there, so I can just build that up a bit more. You're getting the idea of what I'm trying to do. So we stipple him and make him look a little bit fluffier, and my clay is actually drying out a bit now, so I could even just use little pinches along there. The idea is to make that part quite fluffy. And I'll work on his legs a bit more. And a good idea is to have lots of tools at your disposal so you can get different textures. I'd hate to say it, but a hairbrush would be fantastic to use. I'm not going to use my hairbrush on it because that's just icky. Okay, so I've worked it over. I decided to cover the legs. I'm pretty happy with covering the legs. I've given them a little bit more muscle tone, if that's what they have. And it's beginning to look more like the bee I wanted it to look like. I should keep working and making it smoother before we leave it in a nice safe place for air drying. So you can work on the features a bit, and there's our little air dry clayed bee armature, using the armature. And so after 24 hours, leave it in the box perhaps. The box is a really nice safe place to keep it away from dogs and siblings, and let it dry. Then it's ready for you to paint. But I would keep working now on smoothing this out with a little bit of water on my fingertips. I don't want to lose the ridges that I've created, but just enough to make it smoother so that he looks more like the bee I want him to look. So there we have it. You've probably completed your first air dry clay model using an armature. Well done.